we're going to win. You got to understand we're going to win right now, not later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Prime Sports Media. I'm your host. Let's get at it right now. This is going to be a very exciting matchup, should I say. Oregon and Colorado. This is going to be a very, very tough game, a tough environment out there in Eugene, Oregon, in the great Northwest. And I'm here to tell you that unlike a lot of the mainstream media, the pundits out there who think that this is the game that Colorado is going to lose because of the environment, how tough it is up there in Eugene. Look, Colorado, I believe, is already battle tested after playing against TCU, where they were an underdog. Okay, they went up against probably their best defense that they went against, which is Nebraska so far. They were able to beat them. Okay, they went into an overtime against Colorado State and pretty much came out victorious. And these are the type of games that build character and what have you. Now, one of the things that's very upsetting in this whole situation is the fact that they're not going to have Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is like, as Shallow Sanders said, it's like losing two players in the package of one. They're not going to be able to utilize him on the best receiver that Oregon has to offer. Okay, and that receiver is this man right here, Troy Franklin. So he won't be able to match up with Troy Franklin, or he won't be able to get out there in the flats as a receiver for Shedeur and make things happen. And this is what we have been robbed of, given the injury, the terrific injury that he suffered in terms of, and they say he will be back in 3 to 4 weeks. But I'm going to give you the game plan in terms of what Colorado needs to look for. I'm going to explore the weaknesses as well as some of the strengths of this Oregon team that Colorado definitely needs to watch out for. I'm sure the coaching staff, that professional coaching staff, is going to figure a lot of things out watching video, film, the whole 9 yards. Okay. But this is the truth. This is going to be a battle for the ages, I believe. So it's going to be a hell of a game. Everybody's going to be watching this game because we want to see how Colorado matches up against their opening game of the conference play and how they match up with the more better teams in the Pac-12, like the Oregons, the USCs of the world. To the left, you see Coach Dan Lange there. He's a coach of Oregon. You know, he had a few smart things to say not too long ago during a press conference when he was asked a question about what is your thoughts about Colorado leaving the Pac-12 for the Big 12 and what would be the impact. And let me say, this is fair use for the purpose of educating, parody, news reporting, critical analysis, and the whole thing. This is fair use, ladies and gentlemen. Let me let you hear a little bit what he said. And some people took it as, is he trying to get smart again? Is he trying to be funny? Okay, this was back, I think, during spring or fall training camp. Go right ahead and let's hear it now.
This a little bit, but as far as the Pac-12, can I just get your initial reaction when you heard about the news of Colorado leaving? And does these changes change the approach or your attitude as far as the coming this season?
Not a big reaction. I mean, I'm trying to remember what they won to affect this conference. I don't remember. Do you remember them winning anything? I don't remember them winning anything.
All right. So as he said right there, do you remember them winning anything? I don't remember them winning anything. I think that Colorado needs to use this as motivation once again to go out there to Eugene and definitely kick some behind. I think that the Colorado team, in my opinion, when they are the underdog, any team in sports, when they are the underdog, when they're underestimated, undervalued, it gives the players and the coaches something to motivate the team and rally the team around. So I think actually that the fact that they, check this out, made Colorado a 21-point underdog on the road as Oregon, as much as I don't like that, it could be a crucial motivating factor for Coach Prime and for Deion Sanders in the locker room to rally the troops around him, because he's a great leader. Shedeur is a great leader, everybody. And it also gives Coach Prime something to really get into the mindset of his players to prepare them for the battle. And it truly will be a battle because that's a tough place to play. And this is the thing. Oregon can score points with the best of them. They can run up and down that field like a basketball team and put up points. They've got a great quarterback in Bo Nix. Let me put this up here. And he can sling it. He's I think he's like what, a 4th year senior or something like that. He's got a skill set. So this may be arguably the best quarterback prior to them playing against USC that this Colorado defense is going to have to face. And I think they're going to have to face a hit on and realize what the weaknesses are, and they're going to have to attack. I think that they need to come out attacking. The secondary, in my opinion, is still the strength of this defense, okay, which we know that they've given up. And I have to be honest with you, Colorado has given up about 200 yards or more to the run. So they are still acceptable to that run. And you know that Oregon is going to try to run the ball against them because that's the bread and butter of Oregon's team. And I will get into that quite closely in just a moment here. Let me also break something down. Here's the formula. Colorado can play with Oregon and can very well beat them with the passing game because Oregon struggled. They struggled to beat Texas Tech, which is has a passing, spread you out, fast-paced offense that they run at Texas Tech. And Oregon was having problems. Oregon only won that game 38-30. And Texas Tech gave them all that they could handle, okay? Gave them all that they could handle. And what happened is that Texas Tech, if it was not for interceptions that they threw, the quarterback threw, turning over the ball, because Texas Tech's quarterback got sacked about 4 times, and Colorado's going to have to watch out for that because of the strength of this Oregon team is their defensive line, in particularly this man right here, Casey Rogers is the one who anchors inside. I think he plays the defensive tackle position, and this is the man that they definitely need to keep off of Deion Sanders as much as possible because Oregon has gone through a revamping of their defense, and this is the man that anchors that defense. So they're definitely going to have to be aware where he is on the field. Okay. Now let me give you some breakdown. This is why I think that they can win. Check this out. Bo Nix went 32 for 44 for 359 yards. He put up 2 TDs. So this man can throw the ball. They're going to have to, the more they throw the ball, as Shallow Sanders said, the more opportunities he will have to get interceptions. He says he likes the Pac-12 because they throw the ball, giving you more opportunity, okay? So keep that in mind. That's their top-notch player at quarterback. Then Colorado needs to be concerned about this. Once again, Troy Franklin. Now, Troy Franklin, who I'm going to put up right here, is their number 1 wideout. Now, they have a bevy of wideouts on this team, but just against Texas Tech, he got 6 receptions for 103 yards and 1 TD. So he's like the go-to receiver, and this is why I would have loved to have seen Travis Hunter match up against that man. This is what we're being robbed of, to see how Travis Hunter matches up defensively against someone like Troy Franklin, who is one of their high-flying receivers on this Oregon team, okay? Now, he also got 72 yards, which was his longest run in his receptions against Texas Tech. Now, total yards. This is what Oregon put up in total yards against Texas Tech, and this is what Colorado needs to be aware of. Total yards was 472. Turnovers, they didn't have any turnovers, and you know the more you turn the ball over, the team that turns the ball over the most is the team that normally loses. And so Oregon did not turn the ball over against Texas Tech, which was a very close game that they had. They ran for first downs about 20. Well, they got 21 first downs in that game. Okay. And time of possession, this is where I think Colorado has to definitely shine here. I think time of possession staying on that field and keeping Oregon on the sidelines is like almost like defense, keeping them on the sidelines and scoring and keeping the pressure on Oregon will be the best way to take that crowd out of the game. Now, when you look at their time of possession against Texas Tech, it was 32 minutes and 15 seconds. A lot of time of possession. I'm sure they're going to try to do the same thing against Colorado. Now, rushing. They got 113 yards rushing out of 31 attempts against Texas Tech. And in yards per rush, they got about 3.6 yards per rush against Texas Tech. And Texas Tech put up a hell of a fight. Now, this is why Texas Tech was able to make this game close, even though Oregon won 38-30, is because Texas Tech has a passing game. Like I said, I'm here to tell you right now and I'm telling you right now, Colorado needs to employ that passing game and employ it right now. They can win with this passing game. They've got receivers like, let's go. We got my man right here. I'm going to put him right here, like my man Weaver. You get Weaver out there in the flats, he can do some great things for you. I believe in Weaver. We know he had a big game last week. He's a guy that you definitely want to get involved. Okay, from the running back position, the coach, Dan Lange, was saying that this is a young man that they're going to be concerned about because he can get out in the flats, he can get out there and he can fly. And that is Dylan Edwards, can really put some pressure on. Okay, now let's not forget another young man right here. I'm going to put up right here, and you can see him right there, right next to me, and that's Dawson. I think this young man is the young man that came over from Auburn. He can make things happen, so you got to get him highly involved, like he was against Nebraska and like he was out there against Colorado State. Okay, now we can't sleep on Jimmy. You can't sleep on Jimmy Horn. The coach of Oregon has already talked about these receivers. So as long as Shedeur has the time to throw that ball, to put that pressure on the defense, because I think Oregon's secondary is not the strength of this team. The strength of Oregon's team defensively is their defensive line at putting pressure, going at the quarterback. The defensive line is where the strength of their defense really lies on this Oregon team. Now, what their problems are, which is why I think the passing game will be very effective for Colorado when it comes to getting the ball in the hands of someone like Dylan, put him back up here, and even someone like Weaver, who's just having great games, is that one of the weaknesses of this Oregon team, or at least a weakness that they were having last in 2022, and a weakness that they still have, is that their linebackers, their inside linebacking core, struggled to defend in the pass coverage. So their linebackers really were ineffective when it comes to defending and covering when teams spread them out and they're passing. So I think that Colorado needs to exploit that, and they have the players to do so. And this is what I don't understand about the country or people in mainstream media trying to say that Colorado is a 21 point underdog when Colorado has already proven that they can put up points. And to beat a team like Oregon, you need skill position players that can run down that field, can break through coverages, defensive coverages that are being put against them, that can make this spectacular catch, that can get separation between themselves and the defensive backs. And Colorado definitely has those players. Let's clap that up. Coach Prime has already said if you give Shedeur time, he can make miracles happen. Let me go ahead and let you hear what their coach at Oregon had to say in his press conference about his concerns, or at least the threats on this Colorado team that can be a big impact against them. Let's hear his press conference. And this is fair use for the purpose of educating, parity, critical analysis. This is fair use. And I'm going to say this again, under 17 USC 107, criticism, news reporting, teaching, parody, which does not infringe the copyright, ladies and gentlemen, copyright holder. And let's go right ahead and hear what he had to say. Here we go.
Left here. What stands out on film with Colorado offense and defense?
Yeah, Sean Lewis, their offensive coordinator, does a phenomenal job. He creates a lot of issues. They're the fastest paced team in our conference. They're obviously passing for a ton of yards. Their quarterback's playing as well as anybody right now, and he has a really good grasp of their system. And I think that they do a great job of connecting on balls down the field, having a lot of change-ups, creating some efficiencies in their offense with the tempo that they move with. Defensively, Coach Kelly does a great job. We're kind of cut from the same tree as far as philosophy and how he operates. And I think they're playing, well within their scheme. They understand their strengths, their weaknesses. They understand how to utilize their players. And I think that shows up, throughout the film for them.
Second row right, Jared.
Yeah, on that note, obviously with Travis out, how do you go about the challenge of trying to stop their two other receivers, Weaver and Horn, just with how much success they've had this season?
Yeah, they're both really, really talented. They're really good. They're people we have to be aware of, on every snap. And they're certainly not the only ones, right? Their running back right now is a guy that we recruited out of Derby, Kansas, and he'll probably be the fastest man on the field almost every time he's on the field, if not every time he's on the field on Saturday. He's got elite speed. Weaver's been performing at a really, high level. But they're dynamic. We got to make sure we know where those threats are at and we can take care of them.
Front left, James. With Charles Kelly, but how similar is what he's running to what either Pete ran last year or Jeremy Pruitt ran, or what you guys are running now? How much crossover is there in similarity to what Bo has seen before and sees every day in practice?
There's similarities, but it's certainly not the same. There's definitely things that we've modified that they don't do, and there's certainly some things that they do that we don't do, but there's definitely some similarities.
All the way in the back, Matt.
What's made Sanders such a good quarterback transferring from the FCS level to this level?
I think he always keeps his eyes downfield and looking for opportunities to find open receivers, and that's something his wideouts have done a great job of. When he's had several scramble opportunities, but I would describe him as a guy that scrambles to throw, not necessarily scramble to run. But when he has to run with his feet, he can. He's extended plays, and when you extend plays, it's hard to cover for a long time, right? So we have to do a good job of not allowing him to extend plays, but also make sure that we plaster guys in the back end when he does.
Right, Zach.
Let me let everyone out there know something. Shedeur Sanders is the complete key to Colorado winning. Coach Prime has said himself that if you keep him upright, he can make a lot of things happen. He can cause problems for the defending team. Another thing is that Shedeur Sanders, he doesn't get flustered. He's very confident. He's very poised in the pocket. He's a winner. He's a leader of men. And that's what you saw against Colorado State when they came back in that overtime. This young man, I think the difference in the game against Oregon is that they have a quarterback that they believe in, a quarterback that's capable of leading them from behind, leading them when they are up in front of a team. And this is the one thing that Oregon, they're going to underestimate him. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. Let's put this stat up for Shedeur. How many of you guys know that Shedeur, his numbers are really good right now, especially in overtime games? Check this out right here. Shedeur Sanders in the FBS ranks fourth in the fourth quarter overtime. He's ranked number 1 in completion, ranked number 1 in completion yards, ranked number 1 in completion yards and attempts, and ranked number 1 in touchdowns first. So what does it tell you? This is where he's at in the overtime. What his skill set is that they underestimate Shedeur Sanders. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. And if Shedeur can get the ball to his necessary weapons, anything is possible. Anything can happen. Let's go ahead and hear from Coach Prime, a short clip from him when he was at his press conference and they were asking him questions about getting ready for the Oregon team and how you need to have the next man step up after we know that Travis Hunter will not be playing. It's a shame that we're not going to see him match up against this Oregon team because you need all your best players out there. But as Coach Prime says, we go by committee. The next man's got to step up. So let's see what Coach Prime was saying. Once again, this is fair use, fair use. This is called fair use, and it allows for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which does not infringe on the copyright under 17 USC 107. And let's get to Coach Prime right now. Check it out.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you. So obviously this last game was a lot about resilience, winning in a very different way.
Yes.
How does that then translate into a very tough test against Oregon this week?
Well, we're not trying to just be resilient. We don't want to get to that point where we have to be resilient. We want to get out to a great start. We have not played a complete game. We have not played a game where the offense, defense, as well as special team has all shown up in the same.
I just want to say here that what Coach Prime is saying is very key, that they have not, even though they're 3-0, you can make the argument that Colorado has not really put together a complete game where they're clicking on all cylinders, offense, defense, and special teams. Coach Prime is saying this himself, that they're still open to that breakout game where you're going to have them go off. Now, could this be the game against Oregon where Colorado goes up there, puts out a complete game on defense and offense and special teams, and shocks the world just like they did against TCU? It's about telling the truth. Let's get back to them.
Manner. If the offense is playing well, the defense is hot garbage. If the defense is playing well, the offense is horrible. And special teams aren't special. So we got to put it all together to be able to defeat a team like Oregon in that manner. We got to put it together.
Coach Prime is absolutely correct. They need a complete all hands on deck if they're expecting to beat this Oregon team. This team is not Colorado State. They've got some guys out there that can play some ball. Particularly the strength of their team is they have a bevy of running backs on this football team. They have a bevy of running backs, and I want to show you right now what Colorado needs to be aware of. Now, we know about Bo Nix. He's an experienced quarterback. He has seen it all. So they're going up against a quarterback that's very experienced, more experienced. But then they've got a running back that's very dynamic. And I'm saying that Colorado has to, and I'm telling you by all means, they've got to figure out a way to slow the running game of Oregon down, because that's something that they employ. They love to be physical. They have a very physical defense in the trenches. They're very physical with their running game. And it starts with this man right here, Bucky. They're going to have to be aware of number 0, where Bucky is on the field. He's a key man. If they can take him out of the game, if they can minimize his effectiveness in this game, that's also going to work in their advantage. Now, they have another running back. This man right here, Knowles, is another running back who, just like Bucky, can make really difficult plays. This is all wintering. He can make solid plays. So they need to be aware that Oregon likes to run a 2-set back combination. They like to interchange their running backs, try to wear you out. They're going to try to pound them physically with these backs, and both these backs can go inside and out. Colorado's got to be disciplined. The linebackers have to be disciplined and reading their keys, everything. I'm sure that Coach Kelly is going to cook up a good defensive plan. I'm sure the offensive coordinator, Coach Lewis is going to cook up a great offensive plan. Something is going to give here. I believe that if Colorado mix in the run, get Dillon out there in the flats like he did against TCU, get him in space, get the receivers in space like Jimmy Horn, Xavier Weaver, Doss. You get these guys out there and get them in space, get them in a good situation. They can put up points just like Texas Tech did against his team. Oregon is not invincible. They are not invincible, and Colorado is still being underestimated. They can still key on this team, and they can still beat them. It's about understanding their defense, because Oregon runs a combination of a 4-2-5 defense. And let me put this up on the screen for you. 4-2-5 norm. The 4-2-5 norm is a balanced defensive formation at defending the run or the pass. And that's exactly what Oregon is going to try to do against Colorado. What a 4-2-4 defense really is, ladies and gentlemen, is that you've got 4 down linemen, you've got 2 linebackers over the top, and then you may have 5 nickel. So a safety, a free safety, some cornerbacks, and maybe another safety nickel in there. So you're playing like a nickel defense mixed in there with 2 linebackers, and you can bring a safety down if necessary. Here's another look at it right here. Check this out right here. So as you can see, this is another example of the 4-2-5 defense. You've got you got the free safety, the strong safety at the top. You got 2 cornerbacks. Then you bring in another safety right over the tight end. That's right over here. You got a Mike linebacker right here over the top. So you can interchange. You can bring in 2 linebackers, keep 1 linebacker out, and bring in an extra safety or cornerback when you're going up against a team that's passing. So this is what Colorado needs to be on the lookout if they decide to flip to this 4-2-5 defensive set. Okay. This is something that Colorado needs to be on the lookout. I think that they need to continue to spread them out, get their players in space. I think that's the strength. Shedeur Sanders has a great throwing arm. He has great accuracy. You get him in the flow. You get them scoring early. You get things flowing early, and you get people confident. The key is that you got to get their confidence built up. And if they can score early and score many times, even though Oregon is one of those teams that can score too, it's about who's more mentally tough. I believe that Colorado, under this coaching staff, under Coach Prime, is more mentally tough based on what they just went through in the last 3 games. I think those last 3 games has battle tested them to be able to go up in that environment in Eugene, Oregon, and come out, I would say, victorious. They can. It's about sticking to a particular formula. This is what they need to avoid. Colorado has to avoid, and so far, Shedeur doesn't throw. He's got 1 interception against Colorado State. 1. This is why Texas Tech lost that game 38-30. 3 interceptions, and they gave up 4 sacks. But the 3 interceptions is the more glaring mistake, because you give up 3 interceptions, you could turns the game around. Let's say you're up. Now you throw an interception, you give a turnover. Now you allow Oregon back in the game. Colorado's got to cut down on mistakes. They have to cut down on turnovers, no fumbling of the ball, and no throwing of interceptions. I feel very secure with Shedeur Sanders as it relates to him being able to secure the football and not turn it over. This is the difference. Shedeur Sanders, in my estimate, is a better quarterback than the quarterback at Texas Tech. who gave up 3 picks. The offensive line for Colorado is going to have to do a better job against this team because this team was able to get 4 sacks against the quarterback at Texas Tech. And they're going to be keen on trying to do the same to Shedeur. So they've got to give him a clean pocket. They've got to protect. They're going to have to step up. There's no times for games here. I'm just keeping it 100% real with everybody. They can win. I think it would be great for Shiloh Sanders to get another pick. And he may possibly, as well as others, to make something happen. Let's not sleep on Mike Harris. I'm put him up here. Remember, he made 2 touchdowns in the overtime when it was needed. He stepped up. They need him to step up this Saturday against Oregon. They need Mike Harris to do exactly what he did in that overtime game against Colorado State. Get out in those flats, run those routes, run your routes, get open, make the catch. Be that what do you call that, safety blanket for Shedeur. Be it what it is. Be that. I believe that they're going to have to click on all. They have the skilled players to be successful against Oregon. That's why I don't like this. Let me put this back up here again. This is why I don't like what they put out there. Colorado is a 21-point underdog. I don't like it. I think Coach Prime and his coaching staff can match up against Coach of Oregon, Dan Lanning. I think he can match up against them if the players execute, have few mistakes. The most important thing is to avoid mental mistakes, turning the ball over, false starts. When they played, this is why they were able to beat TCU as well. When they played against TCU, they only had there were hardly any. They hardly turned the ball over. The offensive line played flawless. They didn't have any incidents of false starts constantly. Everything that they did to beat TCU, they got to do that in this game against Oregon and more. I think they're going to be effective, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to leave an honest comment on this video about what your thoughts are. What do you think will be the final score of the game? Do you believe that Colorado can beat Oregon, that they can play with them, that they can match up? They're going to have to get pressure on this man here, Bo Nix. They're going to have to get him out of that, get him uncomfortable in the pocket, let him know that he's going to be in a game all day, even if it's in his own home field. I want to remind you that they need to key on and be aware of this defensive lineman right here, Casey Rogers. Very important that they key on him because he's going to be causing havoc or trying to attempt, should I say, he's going to try to attempt to cause havoc against Colorado in this ball game. I just wanted to be very on point. You see, if Texas Tech didn't turn the ball over 4 times, plus the interceptions, to Oregon, then Oregon wouldn't have won this game 38-30. Texas Tech would have beat them. That's the same formula that Colorado is going to have to engage in. Less turnovers, more efficiency, spread that passing game around, make them enforce their secondary, test their secondary out, test the secondary out, and test their linebacking core out, because their linebackers struggled a year ago when it came to defending and pass coverage. That's the truth. Can Colorado control the tempo of this game and negate the two running backs that is going to be thrown at them? Bucky and Knowles. Can they negate them? This man right here. This man right here. They need to figure out a way to neutralize the running game. They need, this is another reminder again. They need to be aware of Troy Franklin, their outstanding wide receiver. The matchup is going to be exciting, and I believe Jimmy Horn, I'm going to make it right now. I think Jimmy Horn is going to step up in this game and have an outstanding breakout game. We know what Weaver can do, but I think he's going to have a breakout game. I think that and believe that Colorado is going to shock some people here. People that are underestimating them against Oregon. Everybody, with that said, this is Prime Sports Media. I want to thank you for watching, and let's see how it all plays itself out this Saturday. Make sure you share this video on all your social media. Your tweet it out, put it in Facebook, let people know about the channel, share it in your community tab if you're a content creator. And everybody, we're at 22,000 subscribers right now, and we're going on up, and I appreciate you. I owe it all to you out there. Really appreciate you. Let's believe. There's going to be a lot of haters out there that's going to waiting to see them lose so that they can run their mouth. But I think that Colorado has the game plan and can do it. I think they have the skill sets, the players on the outside that is necessary to play against Oregon. They can do that. And if they eliminate any of the turnovers, any of the mistakes, they can win this game, y'all. Y'all take care. Peace. Prime Sports Media.